an ally for homelessness. I'm Cy Hansen, and I'm honored and delighted, and it's a privilege to bring to you the Housing and Homeless Services Director at Ally Supportive Services, a young lady who holds a Master's of Science degree in counseling psychology, the Twin Cities ambassador for helping the homeless, my twin sister, Miss Amber Hansen. And happy National Siblings Day.
Oh, it is Siblings Day. Thank you,
Yeah,
Sai. Fucking shit.
absolutely.
I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, we got.
So, uh, now I'm struggling with my introduction to you.
No, no,
Sai.
just welcome to the show, and hey, here
Thank
we
you.
are doing
All right.
unfiltered, and
Well, yeah. Well, here we go. Unfiltered. Thank you, Sai. So, what the cool thing about this is, my brother. I struggle with the social media and what I wanted to do, and who do I reach out to? Who's good at this? My brother.
yeah,
So we're very thankful for our siblings. Happy sibling day.
absolutely. You asked for a favor, and I'm here to help
I
you.
did. It was a favor.
Yeah,
I
no
do that
problem.
every now and then.
I got you. I got, and I also have Otis. If anybody hears the clackling back in the background, that's my pup Otis. So, anyway, so what's new in the world of ally services?
You cut out a little bit. What's new in the world of ally services?
Yeah, yeah. Which is what do you got going on right now? What's what's new? If there's any new developments or what you got going on?
Well, a couple things. I mean, quarterly data is due. It's that time of year where we submit quarterly data.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the middle of that, and our numbers are showing, to no surprise, higher numbers than ever. And it's kind of like, what? We're only getting through like January right now. Wow, numbers are higher than ever. But we're looking at what we did, what happened, um, and we're trying to explain why the numbers show what they show.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't got through them. So that's kind of what's, I guess, new in our world is data time. Um, and um, other than that, budgets are cut. So I had a huge budget cut from the state of Minnesota, March 31st. One of our biggest state outreach budgets uh, that helps the infrastructure grant ended. So here we are in April, and we're down a lot of funding for outreach. The community will feel it. Dakota County, Minnesota did come up with some additional funds, um, but so that's big news because when you get budget cuts, you get service cuts, and that's what should matter to the community and listeners at large. So that's important to know. Um, yeah, sad. That's sad news. Sigh.
So with those, that is sad news. That is very sad news. So with those budget cuts, I mean, I my first question is obviously there's so many ways that it impacts what it takes away. But I guess what does that directly take away from what you're doing here in like those budget cuts? As far
Yeah, it's a good question. We're looking at staffing, um, how much we're paying for
could people
staffing,
lose
how much
jobs?
they could. I mean, at Ally, we're going to try to make some work no matter what. Uh, but it is, yeah, it's service cuts most likely because um, we can cut hours. There's staff that are like, if we got to cut a budget, they're willing to cut hours. That's to the benefit of everybody. That may happen. Um, we're in the mix of we don't know exactly how we're handling this. Ally did hire
Right.
a new CFO, So welcome, Ashley. So
Welcome.
Ashley, our new CFO, is us helping us figure all this out, but it's quite the predicament we're in when budgets are cut and covering Dakota County with the funding we have and the expertise level we have, so we're there.
Wow. That's it's kind of the nature of the business that you're in, and you've been dealing with this, and it comes down to, sadly, it is politics. It is a lot of, obviously city council board member, county board, but when you're cutting funds that are vital to, just the community in general, people are, if some of the folks who concern for their safety, shouldn't we help these folks that are, like we talked about last week? It's a double-edged sword that, it's a slippery slope that people don't understand the ripple effects of what are, going to happen with making these cuts, in my opinion.
They don't. No, because when I cut my outreach hours or my team's hours, the community is going to feel it. Oh, I'm
Right.
sorry. We're only available from 10 to 2. They're going to be like,
Right.
what the I need more help than that. I'm going to think, I know you do. We don't get paid
Right.
more than that. Um, so or I got to cut a staff. Are you kidding? Cut a staff member. We're already like how many outreach workers covering Dakota County? It's crazy.
Right.
We're a small team, so if it just to cover our listeners that don't know, we're like or a whole team of 11, but like we're LA small, so that's mostly housing workers. And when it comes to outreach, um, we have like 2.5 because I hold. I think it is. If Nate may correct me. 2.5, 2.75. Um, what I hold one, and Bill and Brianna. So to cover the county for street outreach, man, it's a lot. You want to cut my funding? Somebody's hours are getting cut.
Right.
Could be mine.
Yeah. And that's and that's what people. That's the last week in our podcast. People, throwing out criticism for what you do. It's like you don't realize that like this is a job that is extremely like you know for the community, and you're not getting a whole lot of support from the people who are. I don't want to throw shade. I don't want to throw shade at the government and it hurt anything, but seems like you could use a little bit of support from you know, the folks in charge, the big people, like I've said before, in suits making differences, making decisions, and I don't know. That's my opinion a little bit about that.
We do. When we ask for it, we get a little bit, but we do need more.
Right. I've actually, in the last, since our podcast, the days after, I've come into a couple of instances of people that I know that, um, and this is how I want to say this because this is how quick something like this could happen. Somebody gets an eviction notice over a friend of mine and gets an eviction notice over, some circumstances that are a little sketchy to me, but says they have to leave their place in 3 days. They have to be out. So now, essentially, this person has nowhere to go. And this is how fast these things can happen as far as becoming homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And in another instance, like in an instance with a spouse that, two people are living together and there's an argument, one person holds the lease, the other person says you have to leave. All right, now said person is out on the street. And it can happen so quick. And that's why we, are here to raise stigma and avoid judgment. Judging one of us, like we've told, just these are situations where they're good people. I know both of them hardworking, good people, and unfortunately, they didn't end up homeless, but the- through an avenue of helping, doing some help, they got places to stay and moved in and everything. But it could have been much worse.
Right. We see a lot of circumstances like that. And again, we don't do eviction prevention, but uh, the county does, and the other organizations, we talked about this last time, do. But it's literally, you got to hop on it quick, and quick action has to be taken. Um, and then I talk about a lot of who we see homeless, and it is usually a loss of a significant other, loved one, somebody you cared for. It could be a partner, a significant other, a
Right.
family member, or whatever. But if that fails or somebody dies, which happens, you're left to face homelessness, and that is increasing. Um, so we see that,
Mm-hmm.
but we also see that people don't know where to go, because if you haven't engaged with social services and know how to reach out, know where to go,
Mm-hmm.
then when you're in this situation, you're like, I don't know what to do, who to call. Um, so that often happens. But I'm thinking, while I'm saying that, um, we're also not an immediate answer, um, because we see so many people outside. You, a lot of people call us, and we don't have an immediate resolution to a homeless problem. It's a journey. It's not immediate.
Right.
Um, so we want to be there and we want to be a resource, but it should be known that, like, we can help with shelter resources. That can be immediate. Many are going to be out of county for immediate,
Mm-hmm.
but we anybody living in the homeless or street outreach world will walk alongside you, but it's going to be a journey. It's not going to be an immediate resolution to your problems. Yeah.
And that's all. I mean, that's a great answer. I mean, and that just shows the knowledge of what you know about the situation, and it's something that obviously is a long term. It's more than just homelessness. It's more than just it's more than just mental health. It's the prevention of it. It's the starting from, like you've done, getting to know people. And sometimes, in psychology, when you get to know people, okay, why did this happen? You know, that's kind of the root of psychology. Is, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't have your degree, but kind of figuring out how did we get to this point? What are maybe some of the, and sometimes it's just completely, shit happens, you know, kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff, hard luck, maybe some wrong decisions, and sh- we've all friggin' been there. Like, let's not act like anybody's perfect out here, but um, so, but we need to get to our main topic tonight, which is something you really want to talk about, which is what is home. You can take it away.
Right. I would love to take it away by asking the question, Sai, what is home to you?
Home to me, I
Hmm?
mean, home. There's a saying, home is where the heart is, right? And home, family to me. That's what I think about first. Like, we have a huge family, and you know, support, which is a big thing, obviously. And
What if you had all that without a roof over your head, though? I mean,
and I'm trying to think of that. I'm trying to think. It's a tough. You put me on the spot. I wasn't expecting that. as far as a home, as far as I mean, it means a lot because being a homeowner, I take a lot of pride in that, and it's something that I've done on my own, and it's something I work hard at, and but at the end of the day, for me, I hate to say it, but it I don't know, it'd be different if I didn't live here in my house, but maybe it would feel different. Maybe I'd miss home. Like I'm a homebody, so I love being in my house. I love just doing my own thing in my house. So home, I guess, to answer that, home is everything to me. I mean, without my house, like I would be displaced. I've thought like at times, it would be kind of cool to live that van life, maybe like deck out a van and go travel. You've traveled all over the country in RVs and motorhomes and kind of lived out of them for a while, and I've always thought like that'd be cool. Like once I'm close, nearing, an area in my life I could do that. But it's like I don't know. I'm such a homebody that I need my space. I guess that's the biggest thing for home for me is it's my space. That's what I'd say.
Your space. Well, that's a good segue. Um, and I didn't mean to surprise you by that,
No,
but
that's all right.
when I ask everybody what home is to them, I get different answers.
Yeah,
And if you're going to ask me, I mean, I have lived that life. So home to me is not like necessarily tied to a material place or
right.
whatever. It's when I describe what is home to me, it's going to be where I feel comfortable, um, what makes me feel safe, comfortable, and um, alive. Like
Yeah.
it's, but you'll hear different answers from different people. Um, and what is home? I wanted to take the emotion to it, but then there's a separate component of defining a structure. So when we ask a human what a home is, you'll hear a lot of emotional responses, like you and
Yeah.
I just did.
Yeah.
We gave
Right.
emotional responses to what is home. And if you're going to ask any listener out there to say, what is home to you? They're going to give an emotional response. And a lot of times, what you're going to hear is home is where I feel safe or comfortable or
Mm-hmm.
what I know. So let's even think of, um, I feel what is home to me? Oh, I feel home when I am blank, fill in the blank. You're going
That's
to
it.
hear answers like, I feel home like when I am in nature. I feel home when I am doing yoga. I don't do yoga, but I feel home when I am on the farm. I feel home when I'm in the woods. I feel home when I am with my family. There's lots
Watching
of things of
football.
I feel home when I'm watching football. I so what is really home to you can be all these embodiments of um, things that attach to an emotion. Okay.
Right.
And then so if you say what is home, then you have to say what is homeless. Let's let's go to what is homeless.
Oh.
Uh, because when I see people in their different homeless environments, um, many people in the world may judge them of being homeless, but let me tell you, every single individual person and their experience of where they're at is different. How they are experiencing their homeless situation. Home defined by us as a society by not having a structure and an address to live in. Now, you and I just talked about what is home and
Right.
has nothing to do with the structure and an address in where you live. So, ain't that a predicament?
That's where that freaking
Because,
master's degree comes in. Dang, that is like mind blowing to me. Like that. Anyways, continue, please.
well, I have lived in many different situations. Um, a house that I own. I lived in a campground for many years. I've lived in rentals, um, various shapes and sizes. Uh,
Yeah.
size laughing because he knows. I've
Yeah.
lived
Yes.
throughout the United States. I was one of those people who was like, I'm going to travel. I did. I did make a choice to be homeless, and I lived in my truck for quite some time. But I never considered myself homeless. I didn't.
You had
Did
means
I?
to sustain yourself.
Not really. No.
I mean, more than you didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't
No,
know.
I did. I
You
mean,
go ahead.
I had the smarts to figure it out. Like, if I wanted to shower, I'm gonna walk. Like, I knew that given the way I looked, I could walk into a hotel and nobody's gonna say anything. And I could walk into the pool room and shower and have a free
Yeah.
breakfast at the Continental.
Right.
Like, dude, there's ways to figure stuff out.
Right.
But I lived in my truck. Um, I park at a campground. I park at a campground, not in a spot, but just park there, get up, use the facilities, the showers. Nobody said anything to me. If as long as I fit in, don't cause
Yeah.
a scene.
Right.
Um, but I was homeless. I literally was homeless, figuring it out. Um, so there's mine. Is he gonna? I have a guest. I have a guest.
You have a guest. We have a guest on the Unfiltered Show. It is
It
Fisher.
is Fisher. But,
Welcome, Fisher.
and I'm wondering if somebody can help me out here because
Uh,
Fisher is a
he's
lot of work
already
right now.
he's already so big. How old is he?
Well, he's only two months,
Two
maybe.
months
What?
old. Look how big he is.
All right. I wonder
Good
if anybody here
boy.
can help me out.
Here's a
He's
big
gonna chew
boy.
on cords.
Here's a
All
big
right. Well,
boy.
if not, so what is home?
Well,
I mean,
yes,
so
we can.
further.
Anything? Go ahead. Your closing thoughts. If you need to run with Fisher, it's okay. We've done a good job here tonight, and
No, I'll have a few more. So,
all right.
but because the
Take your
other
time.
things I want to say about it is our definition of what is home um, differs. It's cultural. So
Right.
because I've traveled the country and because I've traveled beyond the United States, I see a structure that people call a home, and
Right.
that's home to them.
Yeah.
But in the United States, we'll be like, that's not a home. That's not adequate.
Yeah.
Who are we to say what is adequate? Oh my God.
No,
And
I agree.
then when I visit, even in our own space, uh, our culture in Dakota County, Minnesota, I visit a camp. That's somebody's home.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to say where's home, they're going to say that's my home.
Right.
And not always, but this is just where I'm staying. And there's people that move. But a lot of times, you know, I visit a camp and this is my home. So on my level to this our podcast, I wanted to talk about what is home because it's more vast than what people think, and how I approach somebody who we call in a society as homeless. I'm always open minded as to, are you homeless? And let them answer the question and
Right.
tell me about their situation.
Take it deeper.
Um,
You
talking
can live in
about,
a. I was just gonna say you can live in a house. It might not be a home though. You know. You can have that
well,
roof over your head, and it might not be a home. It's a house. It's a place to stay, but you know, it's about what you make it, not. I gotta think. Like we talk about certain amount of people that are here because they can't figure it out, but some of them are actually making the best of it, making it
Right.
home. And
And you'll get a lot of that too, though. People, Minnesota does have a different definition of homelessness, which does involve what we call couch hopping. And you could be having a roof over your head, staying from place to
right,
place.
right,
Is that your home? And most people will not identify that as home. They have yet to find their home.
yeah,
And it's the beauty of our housing program is it does acknowledge that, and we do get to help people find their own home. That's kind of cool. I'm pretty passionate about our housing program. Um, State funded, so it's a Minnesota program. So I'm passionate about that. It does
yeah,
acknowledge the fact that Minnesota people do that. It is a cultural thing, like because of where we live. It's yes, it's everywhere. Our weather affects people's behaviors. Uh, the psychology behind it, yeah, there you go.
yeah,
And the psychology of homelessness includes survival techniques, and it does involve a lot of where are you going to stay. And people do let other people in during the coldest days of winter. So the weather affects everybody's behaviors in regards to shelter and housing.
mm-hmm.
So when we talk about what is home, regardless of where somebody is sheltered up for a night, it doesn't mean it's home.
Yeah. I've been there. I was a coach hopper once in my day.
You've accepted couch hoppers, so have I.
Yeah, hey, it is what we get it. It happens.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
but just it, whatever.
I
So,
mean,
like you were saying, as far as like Minnesota versus just my thought on this, like I watched I have a guy that a podcast that I watch who did an episode on the homelessness in like Las Vegas, which is a completely different scene from like say up here. Like it's weird because they have like all these tunnels underneath the city, and it's like this whole like underneath. It's crazy and dangerous, and it's a whole nother level of kind of problems where it's like I feel like here we're dealing with kind of a level of like folks that are just a little misplaced, trying to do the best that they can, really. And there's that stigma of like they're dangerous and they're gonna hurt people. It's like no, like that's like we talked about people that just like discriminate just upon sight. It's like let's I'm not saying approach anyway, just think about it, do what you can to help. Let's just raise this awareness and keep like think about these people. Just take a second and feel something for another person is what I like to say.
mhm.
Gosh, what happened? Why did this happen to this person? And have some compassion, like we spoke about, and think about what little bit can we all do to help.
Great.
You know,
With that, you know what I think?
what's up?
Oh my God, because I come across some crazy stuff. I don't know what happened in their day or their life. Why is that person acting like that? Whoa. But then I think, I don't know what happened in their day. The lack of knowledge, like just take that into consideration. Like, I don't know, and I don't necessarily need to know.
Right,
All I need to do is be kind, like it's how you respond in a moment. I don't need to know all this information on why this person's doing this or that or whatever. But all I need to do is think of, because all those thoughts go through a natural human's mind. Why? Why? Um, but there's certain
like
people, it's my job to wonder why
yeah,
when I'm working with people and try to figure things out. But um, what I would like to say is to other people, anybody you come into contact with, you could be in the store and be like, why did that person do that? Instead, let's replace that with, we have no idea what that person went through today, but wow, they did that because we don't
Yeah.
know. We don't know. I mean, think about that. We have no idea what happened in their morning. And that's more fun to think of all the crazy things that could have happened in their day than to try to figure out why. Be like, whoa, they could have gone through this. Then you'd be like, whoa, that would be
Who
funny.
knows? It,
Um,
yeah. I
because
don't even want to
let me tell
speculate.
no, yeah. So, but no, so going back to, you know, what is home? Um, that's what I really wanted to just focus on and throw out to our listeners. What is home? What is home to you? But then, like, when you really, really, really think about it, what is home to you? Does it matter the structure you're in, the people you're with?
Right.
And then when you think about that, think about what is homeless? Are you homeless if you don't have what you just described? Because we're defining homeless as being homeless without a structure or a permanent address to send